maybe you're talking with a friend about philosophical movements, and you yourself are saying you're a nihilist while your friend is saying they're an existentialist, but you don't quite know the meaning of it. Alright, let's start with the basics. What is the true meaning of existentialism? Well, to summarize it simply, it's the concept that we ourselves are the ones that are responsible for creating our own lives' meaning, and we're the ones responsible for the purpose of our life. It's a philosophical movement that has elements of individual freedom, choice, and additionally, the inherent meaninglessness of our life. But before you go off and say, wow, that sounds super depressing, hang on, because there's more to it than just that. Existentialism is, at its core, about finding meaning in a world that doesn't automatically come with it. Let's break it down with some key ideas and figures of the existentialist movement. And the first runner-up is Jean-Paul Sartre, a very French-sounding name for a very French man. A very well-known quote from his essay mentioned above is that existence perceives essence. No, you are not born with the purpose of being a millionaire one day or an NBA superstar. There is no divine blueprint according to Jean. There is no ultimate plan for your life. You exist first, and only then will you be able to define yourself after you are born and exist. Think of it like how you were born naked. Only after leaving the womb will you be given clothes. It's not something that's just molded onto you. It's up to you to decide who you want to be and what the meaning of your life is. It's kind of freeing, right? But also a little terrifying. So why is this scary? Well, it's the fact that we have freedom, which, make note, is a key concept of existentialism. Sartre argues that with freedom comes responsibility. If you're the one creating your meaning, there's no one else to blame when things go wrong. This leads to what people call anguish, the realization that you have no guidebook on how to live life. But, and here's the key part, instead of running away from this freedom, existentialists say that we should embrace it. You have the power to create your own values and shape your own destiny. So now you're made aware of three major concepts in existentialism, which are humanism, responsibility, and freedom. However, let's move forward because there is more meat to this existentialist pie. Enter Albert Camus. He, like John, is a major existentialist figure too, but he's a little different, though still French. He's what's deemed to be an absurdist. For Camus, life is inherently meaningless. There is no grand design. The universe doesn't care about your struggles. It doesn't care what you're going through. Yet, Camus says instead of sinking into despair and becoming completely depressed, he argues that we should embrace the absurdity and live our best lives in spite of it. To live life authentically without the care of it being meaningless. While on the topic of living authentically, I'd like to introduce another philosopher, the grandfather himself of existentialism, Kierkegaard. Kierkegaard argued that most people actually live their lives inauthentically. They do it by blending into the crowd, society's norms, and the pressures. To be authentic, you must make your own choices and confront the fact that life has no easy answers. To live authentically, you have to confront the fact that you do have freedom, and it's your freedom to choose, and the anxiety that will come with it. Kierkegaard believed that if you avoid this, you're living in despair, a disconnect from your true, authentic, and whole self. So, authenticity isn't just about doing what you want, it's about owning your choices and becoming who you're meant to be, even if it is tough and you just want to blend in with others. Also, I'd like to address the mouse in the room. Existentialism isn't a philosophy without its fair share of controversial takes. A lot of people disagree with its message, finding it disrespectful or depressing, and I do understand why. Why would it be considered disrespectful, you may ask? Well, it could be the fact that it's a philosophy that's divided on religion. Some existentialists are religious, where some others are not so inclined to believe it has a place in this philosophy. Albert Camus, anything that doesn't have any solid or factual proof to it, then you're not a philosophical person. It's a philosophy that's fairly bleak, to say the least, if you're not out there trying to find your own purpose or meaning. It could lead one to spiral in the meaningless catacombs of their mind. which could lead somebody to choose, for lack of better terms, to end it. But alas, according to Camus, there is still no purpose to life as there is in death. Therefore, if you die, there is no more purpose there than what it was when you were alive. Still, pretty depressing, but you'll move past it as long as you try to find meaning in the meaningless existence. So yes, existentialism isn't a philosophy without its problems. It can be a bleak and depressing philosophy to follow if you don't create your own purpose. However, it's a philosophy that's still very important in the modern day. In a world with 24/7 news, life can become very stressful. Maybe you've been influenced on TikTok and you want to follow trends to get famous. Maybe there's a new movement going on that you don't really understand, but you want to join it anyway because that's what's popular. However, following the crowd isn't living authentically. You are not being your true self by doing so. With people of all ages being on their devices constantly, it's hard to not focus on the trends or what's going on in the world, and that can become overwhelming. There's things happening in the world that you just have no control over, but the one thing you do have control over is your own life, the choices you make, and who you are as a person. So why not live authentically, be your own true self, and not follow the crowd? Existentialism is what you make of your life, not what your life makes of you. After going over some concepts with you, you should have a better understanding of the overall meaning as to what existentialism is. And although I've only went over 2 main philosophers, there are dozens of others that are equally, if not more, recognized. Dostoevsky, Nietzsche, Jose, all of these people were well-known and influential philosophers, and their essays and works are incredibly insightful if you'd want to expand your knowledge on the concepts I've mentioned today. So, what have I gone through in this video? First, the meaning of existentialism, it being a philosophy where you're in charge of creating your own life. Second are the 2 major existentialists I've discussed, and their philosophies and beliefs. Third are the issues with existentialism and their potential controversial takes. And sprinkled throughout the video are some very important concepts of this philosophy: humanism, responsibility, freedom, absurdism, and authenticity. So, did you learn anything new today? Did this information help you somehow? Regardless, existentialism is a very important and historical philosophy that many people believe in, one that doesn't seem to be slowing down and will be followed in the centuries to come.